the bacteria is most sensitive organism for peracetic acid and the yeast is second. But the molds tolerate quite much peracetic acid and usually they grow on the biofilms. So what that mainly tells that some molds are removed from the system, some biofilms are removed and the amount of the molds are even growing when we dose. But if you dose many times gradually you will decrease amount of the molds as well. And at least if you keep the molds on the level like under 2 log per milliliter, then you can be quite satisfied.
Thank you. And then we go to pictures 25 and 27. They are on page 83 and 84, and you have shown at least this slimy growth type already in your question. But can you please describe the disinfection effect of this PAA in slimy paper mills? So can you a little bit go into practical?
Yeah. In the practice, when you have the places like that, it's very difficult to control with any chemical. You would need some toxic gases that would evaluate for most difficult places. You can only disinfect the places where the water is flowing, and then only thing that you can do is that the mechanically clean, just to use like overpressure or spray those slime out of the system. So and
yeah, and when it looks like this, it's already a little bit too late.
Yes, that's like that is the most dirtiest place that I have seen in the paper machine.
So yes, then a little bit more about results in corrosion studies. On page 88 and 89, you state that according to the preliminary laboratory experiments, some metal mixtures such as psyllium were sensitive to PAA. Please explain which alloys corrode. You have already a little bit gone into this in the corrosion method, but just tell about where could you find these for example, this psyllium in the paper machine.
Mainly there was used psyllium was used in the paper machines because it's a light metal. So it was used in the part of the paper machines, like part of the suction system, that you have to remove the parts and do the maintenance for them. If they are too heavy or made from the steel material, then it would be very difficult to handle them. So that's the reason why you select sensitive metals.
Thank you. And then we have also seen this torn edge paper here, and so, but can you please elaborate a little bit on the statement that you have on page 92 at the beginning of the trial? The detached biofilm generated an increase in the number of small slime holes, so which was anticipated. But so how long did you have to then do this remediation with using PAA to get rid of this type of holes and so on?
Yes, the initial cleaning of the peracetic acid was seen after a few hours. There was like loads of the small holes, and then I thought that what a disappointment. I have ruined everything, and I have generated slime holes in there. But after like 2 days they ended up, and then paper machines were running perfectly, and after starting these trials and cleaning it up, I have never been functioned so well, so without these slime holes. And in the paper machine there's like online monitoring of these slime holes. They are just taking pics all the time of the paper roll, and when there's a slime hole they mark it where it is, and when they are rolling it again they take up the slime hole. They cut it the paper roll so that the slime hole doesn't come in, for example, in my book. And but if the slime hole is big enough, usually if the slime hole is more than 1 centimeter, then it caused the tearing of the paper roll, and then the production will come down.
The remediation, if you had started from zero, say, then it took approximately 2 days to get running.
Yeah.
With this.
And that's a nightmare time.
Yes, I can understand that you had a lot of angry people around you.
But you can cope with this nowadays, that you start dosing gradually. You don't put a full dosing on the ones that you, for example, they introduce the hydrogen peroxide first, that it cleans a little bit, and then you introduce peroxide acid gradually, so it takes the slime away. Maybe within 1 week rather than in 2 days. And if you explain that what will wait for the owners or the operators of the paper machines, that is acceptable.
So, thank you. Then we go to page 95, and you have these figures about the experiment on how big they were and different parameters and so on. Can you a little bit describe this to us so that it's easier to get into this type of figures?
Okay, that's maybe you should have beside of this box you should have a pics of the paper machine system, because that tells about the place where have been dosed the peroxide acid, and then for example after the mixer tank there's a head box, so that this is describing how the flow is going from one tank to next tank, and then I have been following the concentration of the chemical. So this is like you asked what is the most important dosing point, and this is one of those that when you mix the chemicals and mix the fibers, and then they go to the head box, and the head box improves the mix and smoothes all the fibers, that it has a fiber concentration like 1%, and then it goes to wire pit that spread it up to the machines as the wire. So in this head box wire system there's like internal circulation system that is not drawn in this picture. And similarly you have these other pictures that tells about how a chemical goes from one place to
there
another.
were several pictures, but
Yeah.
this improved, and I think you also told in the email that there are additional information in appendix 4 for this.
Yes, there's a picture of this paper machine that makes it a little bit easier to read this picture.
And then we again get into some curves, and can you a little bit tell about these microbial results, and also the next one, that is this figure 44, how they are related, because they are from the same trial and the same paper machine.
Yes. That was a reference situation with using the traditional biocides containing these toxic compounds, and then starting to use peracetic acid. You can see that there's one unstable situation. Slime were removed and microbial amounts were jumping up and down, But then when the trial in the middle, you can see that the situation was quite stable, and after that they started the optimization. We started to reuse the chemical just to see how quickly it goes up again, and just to get just to find out what is the proper amount of the chemical that should be dosed in the system. Because dosing it a big amount in the beginning, it needed to clean the system, but it was also expensive. It was unbearable cost for the longer time. So the chemical dosing and cost were reduced during the trial. And then when the trial was stopped and there was a shifting back to the same chemicals that were used beforehand, the microbar amount increased again.
You could show them that it was useful to use your type of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Then we get to the stability results that you have presented in table 23 on page 101. So please tell about this research that you have compiled. It's about the stability.
Yes. Here you dose, though I have dosed a different amount of peroxide acid just to see its behavior, how quickly they decompose. And if you decompose very small amount, this amount is something that you put half of the drop of chemical to the 1 liter of the water, then it decomposes totally within 2 hours. But if we start to dose too much, then there will be residuals of the chemical, and the residuals of the chemicals are not particularly needed in the paper machines. We want to avoid them because every time when we have additional chemicals, it can have some disturbances to other chemicals. So it's better that we dose the chemical and it disappears quickly. So we try to find out what doses and how quickly they will decompose. And then if we take only power this 10 milligrams per liter, then it disappears fast enough.
And then it shows that it's better to dose more frequently and smaller doses than a few doses with a lot of chemicals.
It depends. In the beginning of the trial, you need bigger doses, and for example, if you try to control the probe system, you need a bigger doses. So doses were done within 4-hour to 24-hour intervals. So in some places, only 1 dose per day was enough to control this slime formation.
Okay, good. Thank you. And then in table 25 on page 107, you have a little bit different results here shown, at least. So can you a little bit then tell us about this?
In this place.
It's also from another place.
Yes. All the paper machines, they were individual, so I couldn't draw the conclusion from one trial to other trial. So I had to test in the same testing every time when I entered in the new paper machines. And you can see that the conditions has been a little bit cleaner because the consumption of the peroxide acid has been lower, because the residuals are like 1/3 after one hour. So then smaller doses in this case would have been beneficial to dosing here.
Thank you. And then please tell about this table 24 on page 102. So was biofilm observed or not? And if no, what was then the reason? Was it a good control system achieved by this TAA or what?
In this paper machine, the biofilm were not measured regularly. It was not studied as intensively than in trial 1, 2 or 3. In this trial 4, we studied mainly these free-flowing microorganisms and also these